I'm never going to be able to pull out of here. Let's talk about carb cycling. Carb cycling could be utilized for whether you're gaining weight or losing weight. The main purpose of carb cycling is just basically limiting glycogen buildup, glucose storage, and creating just a lower caloric deficit on days that you're not training. And those days could vary, right? Are you taking 2 days off a week? Are you taking 3 days off a week? And then also overly developed muscle groups. So let's say you have your chest is very strong or overly developed, or maybe your back is the strongest part of your physique. In order to bring up other areas and to stop fat accumulation from happening drastically over time, whether you're gaining weight and then also when you're losing weight, in this aspect, it's going to help because you're going to supply more energy on the days that you're training those lesser developed muscle groups. So if you have an overly developed back, let's say on your pull days, you're going to be doing a low day on the body parts that you need to bring up. Let's say I really need to bring up my shoulders, or I really need to bring up my arms, my quads, hamstrings, whatever that body part may be. That's when you do your high days. You'll see some folks who, and I've had this with a few clients, where if I'm carb cycling them, they don't want to do low days. So they'll make an excuse of going to the gym every day. So they're just on a high carbohydrate diet every day, because that falls into lack of food control, lack of self-discipline, and in other areas, insufficient dieting, scheduling, and just not being able to control yourself. Even though you are in a carb cycle, you still want to be carb cycling. And I know sometimes it gets very hard in that aspect because those low days could be very, very low. When I was in my cut this year, I came off of my low days were 2,200 calories. And in the beginning, it's not that bad, but after a while, it really does start to take a toll on you. My chest and my shoulders, I don't really need a whole lot of added development on them. I need the rest of my body to keep up with my shoulder and chest development. So my low days were on my chest days, and chest days just became so freaking difficult because I was on a low. Those were my low days. I had low carbs that day, and it just sucked. Even the night before, it would just suck knowing, crap, I got to eat a lot less tomorrow. You see a lot more body fat come off over time like that. That's why carb cycling can work. Have I seen carb cycling not work? Yes, but it's with a very few limited people. I've coached 2 people that I could say carb cycling just did not work for them. And these were athletes getting ready for bikini and men's physique. And it was just, for some reason, carb cycling just didn't work for them. And then so I put them on a steady, everyday, same food type of diet, and we seen way better results with that. Now, could it be that they were doing something behind the scenes? Absolutely. So you just can't say, oh, carb cycling doesn't work for me. It's one of those things where it could be a slow process depending on how high those high carbohydrate days are, how low those low days are, right? You could equate your deficit, like let's say, hey, I need to eat 25 calories every day. Now, you could split that up if you wanted to. You could say 3 days out of the week, I'm going to do 2,800 calories, and 4 days out of the week, I'm going to do 2,200 calories. That's an example you could do. The math may not be all there, but you get the gist of it. Splitting those days up, and also the main proponent here of a carb cycle, especially if you're weight training or an athlete, or you want better performance metrics when it comes to your energy output and training performance, is being able to supply those tough days of training with more glycogen, more carbohydrates for an effective workout. So the takeaway here when it comes to carb cycling is make sure that you're doing carb cycling efficiently, having enough of those off days for you to see a significant difference in the deficit of what you're doing in those off days. Being able to maximize the training days that you do need to bring those body parts up. When it comes to coaching and the coaching mentality, I would tell you the only time you need to reevaluate your diet is certain aspects that come up, like, does your training performance just absolutely, is it just trash? Does every day freaking suck when it comes to your training performance? You should probably evaluate your diet, see if your fats are good, see if your protein's good. If you're dieting to ultra low body fat percentage, such as a competition, or you're getting extremely lean for whatever photo shoot event, getting extremely lean, I could tell you right now, you're just going to feel like crap all the time. There's no way around that. I would say if you're walking around with maybe a 4-pack or maybe a 2-pack, you shouldn't be feeling like absolute trash all the time from causation of your diet. So I would reevaluate your diet. You still want to have sufficient energy. You weigh this, you're on a weigh scale, and you need to evaluate, like, actually how much energy output are you doing? A lot of times people are cutting food. They're not having enough energy output. I see it, I would say, in like 40 to 50% of my clients, where I'm having to tell them, hey, I need you to move more throughout the day. We could speed the fat loss process up if you're just moving a lot more throughout the day. So again, that's another aspect that you should be worried about. Instead of just starving yourself, because you may have very good discipline, there is a point where discipline just doesn't work anymore when it comes to dieting. When you're starving, you are just absolutely starving. And then that's when the binging starts. That's when the snowball effect starts to happen. So you need to be conscious of that. Understand that, hey, maybe I just need more energy output. Maybe let me start doing 25 minutes of cardio. Let me start doing 30 minutes of cardio. Let me go outside and start walking more. Instead of me sitting down, let me stand up, let me move around more. That's going to burn a lot more fat cells than you trying to force a diet and starve yourself of nutrients that, are going to wreck your hormones over time, that just aren't going to be that effective over time and cause you to snowball out of effect with the dieting process that you're trying to do. So I hope that kind of sums up carb cycling a little bit in a nutshell for you guys. But until the next one, I will see you guys later. This person needs to get out of my way.